Super, super. Okay, so folks, there is a big crowd today, so I am going to ask folks, if possible, to mute yourselves as you go. And please utilize the chat function to leave questions for us as we go. It'll be really great. I'll try to answer all your questions. There are some spots where we do have time to unmute and ask questions, but I promise we'll get there. And I'm also going to level with all of you. I am fighting some allergies real hard here. So if I disappear to drink some more water or to cough or otherwise despair at how nature hates me, you know, we're all in it together. All right, so we're going to dive in here. This is, of course, the fellowship program, the Arts and Humanities Fellowship Program. We do like to start all of our meetings here with a land acknowledgement to recognize the Nacotchtank and Piscataway people, the first residents of the land that would become the District of Columbia. And every community owes its existence to the vitality and owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes and their dreams and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand on the ancestral lands of the Nacotchtank and the Piscataway people. We pay respects to their elders past and present, and please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us here together today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events, and to use such truths to guide the legacy of this Arts Commission. All right, so who are we? We are the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. We are established in 1968. We are an independent agency within the District of Columbia government that evaluates and initiates action on any matters relating to arts and humanities programming. We are the designated state's arts agency for the District of Columbia and are supported primarily through district government funds and in part by the National Endowment for the Arts. And just a quick note on accessibility. Google Translate is available on our website. So our website is dcarts.dc.gov, and there should be a tab where you can select a language, and it'll do that Google Translate into other languages. Excuse me. For reasonable accommodation requests, anything regarding access and inclusion, please contact us. We have a new website at CAH Accessibility at dc.gov. And we do ask, though, that if you do need any accessibility accommodations or anything, to do give us about 5 business days to accommodate that if we need an interpreter or anything like that. All right, so we're going to do a quick plug before we dive into the meat of this, for that we do need grants panelists if this is something folks are interested in. We panel our applications, and this is integral to our grant making process. We provide critical review, comments, and scores for all of our applications, and we are seeking panelists all the time. We are seeking diversity in our panelists: age, race, gender, ability, sexual orientation, discipline, location, all sorts of things. And this is something that's really fun, and a lot of people really enjoy it. So if you are interested in being a panelist, we do offer that for you. We have an application on our website if you would like to do that. You'll give me 1 second here. I'll be right back. Okay, great. So the actual agenda for the day. We're going to go over the basics, what this is. We're going to do the staff and the cohorts and how we organize this. We'll talk about eligibility and the deadline, and then some of the breakdown into the materials that we ask for, the required questions, the narratives, the applications, a little bit of how to navigate the portal, and then any required documents. All right, so what is this program that you've come here for? This is the Arts and Humanities Fellowship. This is an annual award that we give out to artists to support their continued arts and humanities work. This is awarded to DC-based, DC resident arts and humanities practitioners above the age of 18. The awards are a flat amount among the awardees. We do endeavor to award as many grantees as we can at a meaningful rate. We want to have our awards mean something. This is a competitive grant though. Just as a reference point, the award amount and for our current fiscal year, FY25, was $7,000. And do you need a specific project? You do not. There is no project required for this grant. That would be our projects, events, and festivals grant, which closed earlier this year. No, this is an open grant for recipients to use however you need to in order to support your artistic practice. That may be just paying your rent. That may be renting studio space. That may be commissioning other people to do work for you or work with you. That may be for a large number of things. It may be supplies, it may be transportation, whatever you need it to be. So who is the staff here?
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Sorry. So I am I'm the general contact. I'm Carrie Kleba. So if you have any general questions about the program, you can reach out to me. I will guide you to the person that you should talk to if I am not the correct person to talk to. For all of our other breakdowns, we do have these cohorts, and I'll talk a little bit what we mean by those in a little bit. But for dance questions, Marcia Howard. For design questions, you'll come back to me. For go-go questions, if you are a go-go artist, part of the go-go community, Patience Rowe. For humanities, that's going to be a lot of our writers. That is going to be Kayla Williams. For interdisciplinary, Tanya Myers. Media questions is going to go to Mauricio Pita. Music is Robert Nunez. Teaching artists will go to Andrea Brown, and theater and performing arts to Sherry Feldman, and visual arts to Danielle Gray. And I'll loop back to this slide later today, if you can't capture this right now. And like I said, this list is on our website. You can reach us directly from there, but also if you have a question, you can always come to me and I'll route you to the right person. All right. So for eligibility for this program, we do ask that you be an artist, arts professional, and or humanities practitioner, at least 18 years of age. We do need you to be a District of Columbia resident for at least 1 year prior to the submission deadline. This is a grant funded by DC taxpayers and supporting DC residents. We ask that you have a permanent DC address as listed on government issued identification or tax returns. PO boxes may not be used as proof of permanent address. If you are in the middle of housing transition or experiencing housing insecurity or anything like that, we do ask that you reach out to us. We're not going to immediately disqualify you. We just want to talk and make sure we know how to move forward with you. We can talk about eligibility and things there. We do ask that you maintain residency during the entire granting fiscal period and be in good standing with us at CAH. Broadly speaking, what that means, excuse me, would be that you haven't, if you have received an award from us in the past, that you are up to date on any reports with us, that we do not have any outstanding concerns. Excuse me. But if you have any questions or concerns about that, I would recommend reaching out to a grant manager. If you are a current applicant or a current recipient, you should have a grant manager contact and we can check with you. And then we do ask that you be current on all taxes and liabilities as demonstrated by certificate of clean hands. I've got a little note about clean hands coming up, so I don't want that to scare anybody. All right, so submission requirements. Eligible individuals may submit one application accessible on our website. All of our applications do need to be submitted through our grants portal, and we must receive that by 10 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, June 26, 2025. So almost exactly 3 weeks from now. We do need that, and they need to be submitted through the grants portal. All right. Questions so far? We did get a question about images of designs, the synopsis of statements. That's going to come up in a little bit. I may be moving late August 2026. If there is a concern about you moving sometime before the end of the grant period, I suggest reaching out to us. I don't want to say that it's going to make anybody immediately ineligible, but just that we'd like to talk to you and make sure we've got a handle on what circumstances are. We know that things can happen, people move, life changes happen. We just want to be part of that conversation. Any other questions so far?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
On the website, when you click on the application and submission information page, it says at like towards the middle, submission dates and times, it says complete application shall be submitted online via the CAH grant application portal by 10 p.m. on June 17, 2020.
Yeah, we'll update that. It's definitely June 26th.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We did move our deadline date, so I'm still backtracking and finding all the places we
Okay,
need to
great.
update it. But thank you for the reminder that we need to go fix that. Great. All right. Then I'm going to dive into the application itself. Excuse me. Thank you all for bearing with me. So the application, we are going to ask for some basic information, your name, your address, all the good basics. We've got the narrative questions, which are going to be 3 short answer questions. And then we want some work samples. Depending on your cohort, your art medium, roughly speaking, we'd be asking for 10 images or 2 5-minute audio visual recordings, or roughly 10 pages of writing sample, or a reasonable mix of different forms, depending on your art practice. If you have a 5-minute video, 1 video and 5 images, for example, just a reasonable balance of things. And then we have some required documents. These are going to be mostly compliance documents that we need for eligibility and processing. So, selecting your discipline. This is the cohort question. We have the fellowship roughly organized and open to 10 disciplines, which we have identified for the purpose of panel organization. When I say panel organization, what we are looking for here is ways that we can make sure that you are paneled and reviewed by people who understand your work and are best able to judge the quality of your work and your practice. So, of these categories, the best represent your discipline. We have dance, design. For design, that might be fashion design. We've gotten jewelry design. We've got a lot of different things in there. Go-go artists or go-go community. Humanities. Like I said, that's a lot of times where we find our writers, our architects, folks like that. Interdisciplinary is going to mean really focus on multiple types of art as part of your practice, but really integrated. So we sometimes find our curators here. It's not that you do 2 separate things, it's that you do one thing that has many other forms in it. Media arts, this is where we find a lot of our documentarians and our filmmakers. Music, very broad interpretation of music. So singers, musicians, composers all end up in music. Teaching artists. And for teaching artists, that a lot of times comes through in the work samples. Theater and performing arts, and then visual arts, again, very broad understanding of what visual arts is. If you are unsure of what discipline to choose, we recommend looking at your artist statement, your work samples, and your support materials that you might plan to upload, and then choose the category that best reflects your artist statement, work samples, and support materials. And if you are unsure, you might contact a grant manager. We have this conversation very often. We're always happy to have it. One example, before I move forward, that I think is really useful here is when I am not here at the commission, I do a lot of fiber arts work. That's what I do. That's my practice. And I might think that I need to talk more about, am I more design or am I more visual artist based on the work that I do and the work samples that I have. The reality of my practice is that most of my time now within that realm is spent teaching and doing workshops and leading classes. So really, my practice is probably best defined now as a teaching artist. Now, I'm ineligible for this for many reasons, but that might be how you would go through the process, is looking at your samples. Is it the fact that you are, what are the things you're producing? How are you producing them? How is that practice being viewed and developed? And also, is there something else that maybe fits better? We do have this conversation, as I said, all the time. We're very happy to have it. Every so often we'll find at the end of the application period, when we start going through and reviewing your materials, that there might have been a better place for you. That based on the work that you do and the materials we see, that we would say, oh, we think you might fit better here. And if that happens, we would reach out to you and you'd end up on a phone call with 2 or 3 grant managers. And as we said, looking at your samples, we think you might fit better here. How do you feel about that? We would not move you without without telling you, because we want you to be secure in where you are placed. I hope that made sense. But I'm going to keep going. So some required responses in the online application. We're going to ask for your name. And for this, we want to know your name as it appears on your official tax documents and your official government forms. We do have a place for people's working names. We do know and we do understand that many people work under a name that is not identical to the name that's on the government forms. We want to talk about you using that name. We want to refer to you with that name, and we have a place for that in the application. Have you applied for a grant from us within the past 5 years? Have you received a grant, and has your address changed? All of this is informational and will not impact your consideration or the evaluation of your work. And then we've got these required responses. Excuse me. These are going to be your 3 narrative questions. We do recommend composing your answers in another program and then cutting and pasting your text into the portal. Just to note, as the portal goes, your answers are going to be any formatting or fancy fonts or things like that are not going to be maintained. So really just the text is what we're looking for. But we've got these 3 statements: your artist statement, your work statement, and your community statement. The artist statement is going to be about why you do what you do. What is the passion that drives your artistic practice? The work statement is, what do you do? It's a discussion. It's a place for you to talk about your work samples and the work that you do. And then your community statement is going to be, why are you in DC? What makes you a DC artist? What has brought you to establish yourself here in this city as an artist? Whether you were born here or you came here later in life, what is it that makes you a DC artist? So to dive into these a little bit further, the artist statement is a way for you to introduce yourselves to our panelists. Who are you as an applicant? What is the passion that drives you? How did you come to this art? What's going on here? We're trying to get an idea of who you are. And so the things that we are going to look at here in scoring criteria is going to be about you demonstrating creative and original ideas, and or holding and preserving interpreting traditional art forms, which we hold very equally in value. And that your statement and your work samples are working together to demonstrate a personal voice and an artistic vision. See a clear, unified body of work between what you say and what you do. The work statement of what you do gives a chance to clarify your work samples for the panelists. Give us a chance to discuss your work in more detail. Maybe you want to give guidance on how your work should be viewed. And then this, along with your work samples, helps to demonstrate your technical capabilities within your chosen discipline. And those work samples should match the chosen cohort and support your artist statement. And then this community statement describing how your work as an artist is part of DC. I had a question here about your artistic community, your status in this group of people and all of that. This is where you have that opportunity to explain your community. Do you have a local community that you work with? Is your artistic community the street you live on? Is it that you do have a small collective of artists where you jam together, work together, support each other, evaluate each other? How do you interact within that community? And then a much larger understanding of engaging and reflecting on being part of DC. Are you a DC artist through and through? Are you the kind of person who is representing what it is to be a DC artist outside of DC, along the East Coast, across the country, around the world? What is it that makes you a DC artist? And I know I got a couple of questions here. Let me start with what's in the chat. A couple of these questions, the answer's coming up soon, so I'm going to pause on them. And I do want to mention for a lot of these statements, there's not a wrong answer. We have gotten all sorts of answers. But if you do have concerns or questions about any of them, again, reach out to us. As far as a discipline choice, is it a criteria where you have the strongest package? If you're established in one art form, but you're transitioning your practice to another one, that's a really good time to come talk to a grant manager about what your application materials might be and how strongly you feel established in one art form over another. Do you feel really strongly and secure in one art form? Are you transitioning your practice, but you feel really strong in that new one? That would be a conversation to have with us. I only see artist statements in the application, the work and community statements. They do fall under the category of artist statement. The work statement goes next to your work samples in the application itself online. And I will double check everything. Any other questions if anybody wants to come off mute?
I guess one question, this is Michael. Is there a sort of a vision of the DC artistic community, a mission statement or a DCCAH statement that we should be referencing or thinking about as we describe how we're a DC artist? Thanks.
No, thank you for that question. But no, we do not have a clearly defined idea of what that community looks like that we would want you to write to. The community is all of you, and we are not. We have no quotas that we're trying to reach. See a lot of questions about the questions. They should be in the application portal. So when you log in and you start doing the application, you should find the questions there. You should find the question for your artist statement, the work statement, and the community statement. I'll go in and double check, but that's where you'll find them in the application. And how can you access this recording? This recording will be on our YouTube channel, should be later today. Okay, I'm going to keep going through my uploads. So these are the additional documents we would ask for: your resume, your artistic resume, your work samples, and your support materials. Excuse me. So your artistic resume or CV, this is going to be the resume of your arts and humanities work. We are not looking for the resume you might submit to a job application. We're really looking for the resume of your work. The style as a result of this resume really is going to depend on your general practice, but we don't have specific guidelines. It can look like whatever you need it to look like. So we're looking for a record of your professional experience and your artist statement and artistic achievements. And you may substitute this for a list of projects completed by the applicant within the last 3 years. Okay. And then your work samples. Your work sample requirements and limits will depend on your arts and humanities discipline. If you have questions on how your practice fits into a cohort, please contact a grant manager. Or if you are finding any difficulties with uploading, you're going to want to check with us. One thing that is important, we do not want work samples that are older than 3 years old. We're looking for your recent work. So for image files, we want them in JPEG or PNG format. Some folks may find if you have a lot of images on an iPhone or something like that, the file type is not supported by our portal. So we really need JPEGs or PNGs. Audio files, we would like an MP3. Document files, we would like a PDF. We really want PDFs. We are Windows-based here at the commission. I cannot open a numbers or a pages file easily. Many of our panelists, and I know a lot of folks are working off of Mac, and so things like Word documents and other things don't open very easily over there. So PDF is the most stable and secure document for all of these. Excuse me. And then for video files, a YouTube link, a Vimeo link, or an MP4. If you have password protections on anything, we would like those passwords. Okay. And this is so important. If you want panelists to view your work, it must be uploaded in the portal as part of your application. We do not want a list of links to direct anyone to an external site. So please do not submit something like, go check my website for more information, see more here at this link. Here's a zip file, a zip file of recordings. Excuse me. Or you can see more on my social media. It has to be part of an application. I did see a question here for submitting documents as work samples. Should the pages be double spaced or single spaced? Honestly, up to you. We're okay with both. Mid 2022 work should be okay. All right. So support materials. Support materials are going to be any documents that are there to support your work, are there to guide the viewers in seeing the things that you do, and should strengthen your application, but do not take the place of a work sample. So this may be things like a contract for past or future work, playbills, programs, reviews, letters of support, proof of sales, interviews, mentions in an article, a screenshot of somebody's Instagram shout out, something like that. But these are going to be things that are not necessarily work sample, but support your work. And these are very broad, again, in terms of what we will accept, and not everything applies to everyone. If a letter of recommendation is not immediately relevant to your work, then you don't need to get one. Don't go out of your way to get something you don't already have. But if you do have something like 3 reviews, then you can combine them into a single document. Okay.
Could I ask on letters of recommendation?
Yes.
Michael again. Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, when you said don't go out and get one, but use something you already have, I mean, it seems a little bit awkward, but would we then submit a letter of recommendation that was provided for one of our artistic projects that was not necessarily written or wasn't written for the fellowship? Thanks.
Yeah, that would be fine. Thank you for that question. Yes, that would be fine. If you have a letter of recommendation that was written for something else, that would be an okay thing to include. And I see a couple of questions here about the video samples and YouTube links. Video samples should be about 5 minutes, but I want to clarify a point there. This is a couple of good questions about those. If you have a work sample that is longer than 5 minutes on the recording, it was a recital that you gave, and it is a 15-minute recording, then we would like a timestamp of what 5 minutes should we see, so that we can focus on it. And I had a question here about, but YouTube seems like an external link. The portal is designed in such a way that if you have a YouTube link, it will put it into the application itself, and it does not go to an external viewer. It integrates in such a way that you're not actually going out of the portal, you're still within it. So YouTube and Vimeo are supported for that. I have a lot of questions here about, do you need to make a video? Nobody needs to make a video. It is one thing that is available. You can link to video recordings. Not everybody has to submit a video. It's really just if it's appropriate for your medium genre. And then a good question here about, is a 6-minute long video okay, or should we cut it? It's fine at 6 minutes. So that, just going back to my, if there's timestamps on something, that's what we really need. We don't want you to cut anything that doesn't need to be cut. We're not looking for a master reel or anything like that. If it's a, hey, I've got this spring recital video and I loaded it to YouTube, the link will integrate with our portal. You just need to tell us in a couple of places, and I've got slides coming up for that, where we should focus on. And that would be fine. I also have a question here of, most of the recent work was done in Maryland. Can I include that work as a sample? Yeah, totally fine. We've had a lot of artists who work, we understand contracts will take you outside of the district, work will take you outside of the district. A lot of opportunities in Maryland and Virginia or further afield. If you have done work outside of the city, that's totally fine. You can use that as a work sample. Can the support materials be older than 3 years? They can be, but we'd prefer if they were also fairly recent. All right. I'm gonna keep us moving forward here, but good questions, everybody. So let's talk about how to actually use the portal itself. So you go to our website, dcarts.dc.gov, click on programs, and then in the drop-down menu, you'll find grants. This is no longer accurate. This is a little bit older. Grants is somewhere else in that category in this list, but you'll find grants. That's going to take you to our overall grants page, where you will find a list of our current funding opportunities, links to our application assistance, including registration for our live chats and workshops, and then a lot of additional resources, including our guide to grants, the RFAs, fillable PDF copies of required documents, and a link to the portal. So when you click on the portal link, it will take you here. So really important here, if you are brand new, you'll click on the green button. If you are returning, you will sign in. If you try to start a new application, it's just going to duplicate it, and it may not let you actually move forward because your name, your email address, your tax information is already attached to an account. But your name and address on the portal should match exactly the name and address you use on other grant documentation, like your W-9 and your statement of certification. So when you get in and you get past some initial questions, we're actually filling in the information, we're going to want a couple of things. Your name for your applicant profile, this is your government name. Your request name or your applicant doing business as, this is your working name. So if you are known by or work under a name that is different from your government name, then that's where we want to know it. We will refer to you by this name. And this is the name we will present to panelists. The practitioner type, this is a very long list of a lot of different genres. tap dancer and watercolors and all sorts of things. This is additional information. If you want to self-identify in here, that's great. But the one that we really need to know here is the discipline for panel cohorts. This is where we're going to ask you to pick one of those 10 cohorts for organizational purposes. All right, work samples. So you have gone through those first couple of questions and first couple pages, and you're starting to upload your materials. First, when you're in your application, you can find your new application button up here. You can find any prior application materials or open applications on the side. And then any of your requests will exist waiting for you to finish them. So if you start an application and you don't finish it immediately, that's fine. Let's say while we're here on the call, you're filling out the first couple of parts and you're going to come back to your compliance documents or your work samples, they'll still be there up until the deadline. If you are a returning applicant and you thought, hey, I really liked the way I phrased something last year, I really thought that was good, and I want to reread that, you can go to your submitted applications and look at your grant history and find those materials. So here in the work samples and uploads, this is the work statement, where you provide a statement describing how the content of the work sample best represents the applicant and the work supported. From here, this is where you're going to put your media items. This is your work samples. This is your photos. This will be your videos. This will be your audio, whatever your work sample is as best relates to the work that you do. You're going to attach media from a media library. So this is a really important thing. There are 2 steps here. You upload materials to the library and then you attach from the library. If you don't see something here in the media viewer, we don't see something as reviewers. So in that media viewer, in your media library, it should look like this when things have been attached. Your statement goes here, your sample should be here. If you have a video, we should see kind of a preview of something. If it's just a black box, then something is probably not playing correctly. If you do run into any technical difficulties, that would be fine. Just let us know so we can help. We've run into a lot of things. We're pretty good at tech support. And is the statement per item or the overall? This is the overall work statement. So you can provide a breakdown of individual items, but we do ask that you stay roughly within a 400-word count. So this is what the media files looks like for uploading things into your media library. You've got your description here where you can put a title. If you have anything that is timestamped or password protected, this is great to give us that information. So the description might be spring recital. Please watch from minute 5:05 to 10:05. If you have a YouTube or Vimeo link, you'll drop those links here. And then they should upload directly and connect to this. Okay. So then back in your application, we've got our statement, we've got our media viewer, you click on attach media, it's going to pop up, give you a pop-up window, so make sure your pop-up blocker is paused for the moment, and then you will click on the items you want to attach to your application. For images, this comes up every year, or anything, the order you upload them in is not the order they will display in at the end. The portal is going to reorganize them in alphabetical order. So my recommendation is to, at the start of the title of all of your works, give it a number 1 through 9 or 0 through 9 so that it will go in the order you want it to be in. That's the best workaround I can think of. That or you start with A, B, C, D, whatever it is, but it will reorder into alphabetical order. So just adjust the title, it'll be okay. Okay. Okay, let me hit some questions from the chat here. Can documents be directly uploaded from the document library this year? I don't think it works quite as well for the document library, but the media library does. For the document library, we can still do direct uploads from your computers. And so that works best for that. If someone applies for the grant in the current year and is awarded, could they apply in the following year or apply for a grant under a different discipline or project? Great question here. You can apply for this as often as you want. You can apply and be awarded this year and then apply and be awarded next year. We do not currently have any restrictions on that, but we do ask for only one application per grant program per year. So for fellows, since a lot of you are individuals, you can apply for the fellowship, one application for the fellowship. But if you are interested in the projects, events, or festivals grant next spring, you could apply for PEF and fellowship. Those are two different programs. Is the statement per item or an overall artist statement? The statement is overall. You can address individual works in your statement, but the work statement is an overall work statement. If you are submitting documents for humanities, like a writing sample, would you also upload them in media files or just in the work sample? You would upload them in the work sample. There's a documents library at the bottom of the application page where we ask for a work sample. For the document folks, that's where your work samples go. For anybody who's media samples only, video or photos, a placeholder document there for the work sample is great. Do I need to include a co-curator letter of consent if I don't have a co-curator? You should be okay. This is an award for you and your work samples. A rendering of exhibition. We don't have that for this grant. Are you looking for the JEG grant? And Michael, I see your hand up.
Yeah, you were saying to put a placeholder in at the bottom when we have video samples, a placeholder document for work samples. Can you explain that? I'm not sure.
Sure. There is a document section. We're going to talk about the required forms here in a minute. And in the required forms where we ask for things like your statement of certification and W-9, there is a line there for a work sample. If you do not have a document to put there because all of your samples were media files, then you can put a placeholder document there just so that the portal doesn't get mad at you for not having something.
Got it.
And
don't want the portal to get mad at me. Thanks.
Exactly. All right. All right, let's talk about those required forms real quick. So these are the additional documents that we need for just eligibility. So we want that proof of DC residency, so your DC driver's license or ID card, or 2 alternate proofs of residency, the statement of certification, a W-9, and a certificate of clean hands. So your proof of residency, what we're looking for is, proof that you live here. If you don't have your license or ID card, you could give us, excuse me, a copy of your lease, utility bills, bank statements. I do want to say for all of these, please redact any sensitive information you do not want us to know. It's totally okay. We're just checking the address. So we do not need to see your account numbers, and I don't really want to see them anyway. A passport is not proof of residency. It's a useful thing to have, but not proof of residency. Statement of certification. This is a document required by the District of Columbia. What this is it tells us who is allowed to negotiate on your behalf with us about your grant. You are self-certifying for the most part. You are saying that you are certifying yourself to negotiate with us because this is an individual award. So you've got your name, you're saying that you're an individual, give us your address, and then just make sure this is the correct grant program. I know a lot of our folks apply for multiple grants in a year. We just want to make sure this is the one for the fellowship. Excuse me. excuse me. We do want this address to match the W-9 and grant portal as well. This is a 4-page document, and we have a fillable PDF copy of the form on our website. The first page needs to get filled out. The last page gets a signature and a date in ink or a verified e-signature. So that means that you're going to either print it out, sign it, and scan it, or you're going to, or if you've got a tablet or a phone where you can sign it with your finger, that's great. Or a verified e-signature that is something like Adobe or DocuSign. But we cannot take a fancy font in lieu of a signature. You can find a copy of this form on our website. It is in the list of documents and resources for applicants. It's not in the portal, or it shouldn't be in the portal, but you can find a copy of this on our website. Then we need your IRS form 990, not 990, W-9, sorry. We need the most recent form. This is the March 2024 version. Somebody out there still has the December 2010 form, and I cannot take it. I need the newest one, March 2024. Again, name should match on everything. We do need your social security number for the tax ID. I know a lot of folks have got an LLC and a sole proprietorship for your artwork. Because of how this award is structured with DC government, we are paying an individual, and we have to pay it to your social if you are awarded. Again, signature needs to be a manual one or a verified e-signature dated in 2024. We have a link to the fillable PDF copy. If you run into any problems with signing either of these documents, do let us know so we can help out. And then the certificate of clean hands. All right, this is fun. So you apply for this on the MyTax website, mytax.dc.gov. This is the Office of Tax and Revenue. You'll download a PDF of your certificate. And if you are unable to attain a certificate of clean hands by the deadline, you can still apply for the grant. Don't let this be the thing that stops you. But if you are having any difficulties getting clean hands, let us know. You just need to loop us into the conversation so we know what's going on and we can help, or we can follow up with you. But we just need to know what's going on. A thing to know, once you have gotten a certificate of clean hands once, this is for the folks who have done this before, you can validate your certificate. So if you've never done this before, you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to need to register and request a certificate of clean hands. There is a section on the OTR MyTax website for clean hands specifically, and it says request, validate, and learn more. If it's your first time ever, you can request a certificate of clean hands. If you are returning and you have done this process before, you're going to validate a certificate. You should have a form. It should look similar to this. And what you're going to do is use your notice number and your last 4 digits of your social to get a new one. The notice number is in the top right-hand corner. It starts with an L and is about 12 digits long. And this plus your social will give you a new certificate. So it makes things a lot easier. If anybody has struggled with the MyTax website, I know a lot of folks have, here's how you struggle less with it. It's one really useful tip. Okay. And then for everything we do ask and strongly recommend, please, please, please save and upload all grant materials as PDF files. We would love for your name and address to be consistent on everything, and contact us if you have any questions. We're happy to do it. A lot of times on the back end, the thing that slows us down the most is because we don't have things as PDFs, because we're trying to reconcile names and addresses, and it just gums up the works. And then I have a couple of questions that came through. Oh, yes, let me do questions first before I do this last part. You could still pull a new one if you can't find a recent clean hands. Yes, that's true. The thing is, once you pull one clean hands, you can use those notice numbers forever. So you might have a clean hands, let's say, sitting somewhere in the portal because you've applied 3 years ago. You can use that clean hands to pull a new one. The notice number should still work. So it doesn't need to be the most recent one. To attach 2 videos as a work sample and then a written work sample to fill in that section, that might be a question to talk to with a grant manager. That might be too much, but I would come talk to us about that. You can find a fillable statement of certification on our website. We do have documents. Is it let's see. About how long should artistic and community statements be? We have a word count guidance on our website. I think it's about 300 to 400 words a piece. I can't remember the exact numbers right now. Not super long. The thing about the portal is it's not going to cut you off at any point. It's not going to say, oh, you can't, it's not going to stop the numbers. So, if you're filling stuff out online and sometimes just like, no, you went too far. No more characters for you. We don't have that set up. So if you go long, if it's we're saying we want this for 400 words, but you go to 405, that's okay. That's totally fine. But we'll deal with it. But it'll be okay. If somebody works for DC, but is also an artist and resident, there are some parts of DC that are okay. I would suggest reaching out to us so we can double check and make sure that this is going to be okay for conflicts of interest. And then I know I see a hand up from Gail.
I was wondering, in the supplemental materials, the PDF, we include a link that's to a panel discussion? The panel discussion was an hour long, but
yeah, shoot me a message so I can take a look at it and see if I can help you figure out. This is a case of, let us help figure out the best way to get things up there.
okay.
But yeah,
so should I create the PDF and then send it to you and ask you if it's okay?
Yeah, send me the PDF and I'll send me the PDF so I can kind of wrap my head around it.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. I'm going to keep going through. So this is going to be, we're heading into kind of our wrap up period. Thank you all for bearing with me. But just so a timeline so you all understand what's going on here. After you submit your application, we review your applications for eligibility and completion and sort everything into cohorts for review. Then we have panelists. We have panelists from our community review and score the applications. Based on those reviews, we calculate final award amounts and also submit our recommendations for funding. We cannot fund everyone, so we have to make some hard choices. And then that is all submitted to our commissioners who make the final funding recommendations. And then in October, early October, on or after October 1, we will contact all applicants with information if you have been awarded or not. Grant recipients, if you are awarded, may complete and return, we need you to complete and return a couple of additional forms. And then we have to register you for the payment system. Don't worry, we'll walk anybody through all of this. And then all applicants may request feedback starting in November. We just ask for that first month so that we can kind of get our feet under ourselves of the new year, and we'll go from there. And then if you are awarded, payments follow after that. And then we do have a report requirement for all grantees. We do need a report the following October. For the fellowship, it's a relatively simple one. As I said, this is not an award for a specific project. It is just an award for you to live. I am not going to ask for receipts on how you spent the money. I really just want to know that you got it and you were able to keep working. Any final questions? I know that was a lot.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have a question. the website talks about being able to have a member of staff review or preview our
Yes.
application. Could you talk about
Yes.
that?
Sure. That's an excellent question. We do have that opportunity. If you would like to have a member of staff review your application, to take a look at it, anything like that, reach out to us. You can reach out to the contact for your cohort, or you can reach out to me. And if I am not able to do it, or I will contact the right person. We do ask that you let us know that you would like that roughly 1 week in advance of the deadline. I don't know if anybody's got a calendar in front of them, but I have one in my head. And the one in my head would like everyone to know that 1 week before the deadline is Juneteenth. We will not be in office. So you have June 20th. As long as you let us know by close of business on June 20th that you would like a review, we will get a review time for you. We can do this for, excuse me, this can be just an email thing back and forth. We can set up a call. We do have options where you can use, you can come and see us in office. We'll set up the time. We can do that. We're happy to do it.
Awesome. And last quick question. I know there are other
Yeah.
folks as well. Did you want to say anything about proposed NEA cuts and what that does to your funding landscape?
I wish I had an answer.
Okay, thank
The reality is that we don't have an answer. We are in better shape than a lot of states as far as the NEA cuts are funded, and this program in particular is mostly funded through taxpayer funding. So we're doing the best we can. We are trying to fund as many people as we can, but we do understand this program is very high volume and very high demand. So I don't know what the numbers are going to be. I know there have been some real questions on, how many people apply, how many people are selected. We've tried to hit above 50%. We've been very successful in the past. The world is changing, so things are changing, and we're trying to keep it going as best we can. So I don't have final numbers right now. I've had a couple of requests for the YouTube recording. I'm going to drop the link to our YouTube page here. Our YouTube page is where we put all of our workshops. If you are interested in any of our workshops or other programming, you can watch them at any time. If you think it would be great to listen to one of us give a PowerPoint presentation while you fall asleep, that's an option. Or if you just want to rewatch things. I did see a question here on, are these awarded on a rolling basis? This is a all at once. We don't have a rolling application or a rolling award. So it would be everything in by June 26, and then the awards go out October 1 or within a week of that. And then I had another question. Can funds be used for licensing fees? Yes, they sure can. Basically, the only thing is you can't spend the money on food, but once again, I'm not looking for receipts. This is not a project grant. We do not ask for receipts on how these funds are spent. You can spend them however you need to. All right, so let me head to these final wrap up things. We do have live chats in addition to those one-on-one conversations. These are online virtual chats we do every Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. They're on Zoom just like this. There's a bunch of grant managers. There's no formal programming. Feel free to hop in, ask a question, go about your day, or turn it on and listen and just see what other people ask. It's a very informal space, really great place to get some questions answered. I have it scheduled, so there's one tomorrow and the 13th. We can all knock on wood that everything will be fine that day. We should also have another one on June 20. That would be the last one. And you may have noticed that I said that this application was due at 10 p.m. We'll be online. You can reach out to us with any issues up until that deadline. We're here to help and do that. I would ask that, hopefully we're just doing tech support and figuring out some real crises at 9 o'clock on that Thursday, and that's the only issue we deal with. Additional workshops, we've got another one of these coming up on June 10th. Same content, same everything. Hopefully I'm less sneezy. But we've got, if you want to come again, We should also have another one. If we put another workshop on our calendar, it's going to show up on the Eventbrite where we have all of these workshops listed and you can register. And that's it. Thank you for joining me today. It was great. Thanks for all bearing with me and being patient with me. Our office hours are 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We have moved. We, the grants team, have moved. This doesn't really affect anyone because, I mean, everything's been closed for so many years that none of you have come to see me in person very often. But we are still in 200 I Street. We are still in Navy Yard. But the grants team is now closer to the front of the building in case people want to come in and see us and visit us and see what things are like. I am going to scroll back here to the page with all of the grant manager contacts. So many slides to go back to. And I just want to reiterate, we do have an RFA. There is a PDF on our website that has all of this laid out in greater detail. I do recommend reading the RFA and then reading it again. We're happy to do a lot of resources and conversations with you, but all that information is in there as well. And I thank you all for being with me. I'm going to stick around for another couple of minutes before I have to go into another meeting. But happy to answer any questions anybody else has as we head towards the end. I am going to stop the recording though, and we'll go from there.